your eyewitness weather forecast.
And a good Thursday evening, everybody. I'm meteorologist Ron Reed, tracking another dry stretch that'll start up during the day tomorrow and last us through most of next week. But before we get to that, let's take a look at the current U.S. drought monitor. You heard Dorian, Jamie, Allison talking about earlier in the show the drought watches and warnings. This is a little bit of a different perspective. This is the U.S. drought monitor. The watches and warnings are issued by the state of New York, but we now have all of central New York in abnormally dry conditions, and east central New York, portions of Hamilton, Fulton, Montgomery counties now under a moderate drought there. And the reason why is because it hasn't taken into account any of today's rainfalls, because this data runs from Wednesday to Tuesday at 8 a.m. So this rainfall will be accounted for in next week's drought outlook. But as far as how much rain we've seen since January 1st, we've seen just over 2 feet of rain, and that includes the liquid equivalent of any snowfall. And normally up to now, we should have seen closer to 29 inches of rain, and that's in addition to the 5 to 7 inch deficits that were running just since the summertime. Right now, we're seeing some light to moderate rain in downtown Utica, which is good news. Winds out of the west at around 10 miles an hour, and temperature is 69, but that dew point is 66, so it feels muggy out there, and there could be some patchy fog in addition to the clouds and rain during the overnight hours tonight. Temperatures across the area right now, mostly in that range in the middle and upper 60s, but Oneonta still at 71 degrees, and it feels quite muggy, quite humid. It'll become less humid as we head through the weekend. That's in spite of the fact that temperatures will actually be on the rise, starting off in the mid to upper 70s for both Friday and Saturday, and possibly getting into the upper 70s to around 80 by Sunday, with a lot of sunshine developing. Right now, Tropical Storm Umberto, as of the 5 p.m. advisory, is a 60-mile-an-hour tropical storm, so it's a lot stronger than it was this time yesterday, but it's only moving to the northwest at 6 miles an hour, so it's slowed down. And then closer to Puerto Rico, we have this disturbance, which is likely to become Tropical Storm Imelda by late in the weekend, early next week. And then we have this area of low pressure that is the culprit for all the rain and storms that we've seen today. Thankfully, not a lot of reports of flooding, with the exception of the capital Saratoga region. So as we head through the overnight hours, the showers will come to an end. Some of them will linger into tomorrow morning, and there could even be a few lake effect rain showers across the Tug Hill Plateau, thanks to a west-northwesterly breeze that develops throughout the day. And then we'll see sunshine developing as we head into the afternoon. Temperatures tomorrow in the upper 60s to lower and middle 70s, and that's right where we should be at this time of year. So the rain tracker not showing much in terms of additional rainfall. Dew points, as I mentioned, coming down as we head into Monday and Tuesday, in spite of the fact that temperatures will come up. And as far as the 7-day forecast is concerned, you can see that rise in temperatures getting up into the lower 80s by the time we head into Monday, before temperatures take a drop for Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Dorian, I'll send things back over to you.
Thanks, Jordan.
Come see why it's gotta be 9. Now, your eyewitness weather forecast.
And a good Thursday evening, everybody. I'm meteorologist Ron Reed, tracking another dry stretch that'll start up during the day tomorrow, lasting through much of next week, and that bodes well for the weekend too. So let's take a look first, though, at the drought monitor. You heard Dorian, Jamie, Allison mention earlier in the show the drought conditions that we have been experiencing. This is a latest look at it. This came out this morning, but it goes from Wednesday to Tuesday at 8 a.m., so it didn't account for any of today's rainfall. But the latest update is that all of central New York now, I should say, is under in abnormally dry conditions. But the eastern sections of Hamilton, Fulton, Montgomery counties now in a moderate drought. We'll have to see if next week's update accounts for any of the rain that we had today, as well as back on Tuesday as well. As far as the rainfall for the year, we're just shy of 27 inches since January 1st, and normally we should be around 29 inches. So we're a little bit short for the year, only by a couple of inches. But again, it's those deficits that you heard Allison mention earlier in the show that have been growing since late June, as much as 5 to 7, 10 inches in some locations. 65 degrees right now in downtown Utica, where the rain has come to an end, but that dew point is still fairly close, 63, so that means it'll feel quite muggy, and it could be quite foggy during the overnight hours. Winds out of the west at 7 miles an hour. The good news is that even though temperatures will be on the rise throughout the weekend, we will see decreasing amounts of humidity and increasing amounts of sunshine. environment. I'll show you the dew points coming up in just a second. As far as the tropics are concerned, we do have Tropical Storm Umberto, which is a 60-mile-an-hour tropical storm moving to the northwest at 6 miles an hour. So it's gained momentum, but it's slowing down in terms of its motion. And then this west wave over here is giving growing chances of development by the weekend and especially into Monday by the latest computer models. Back here closer to home, we have an area of low pressure, basically parked over Lake Ontario, but it's slowly moving up toward the north and east, dragging this cold front with it. And that cold front is going to switch winds over to the northwest tomorrow, not only causing some lake effect rain showers, but causing it to be quite breezy and gusty at times, especially during the afternoon. The radar looks a lot less active than it was earlier today, and so does Futurecast during the overnight hours, showing you some of those lake effect rain showers from the thruway up toward the north, not causing much in terms of additional rain accumulation, but by tomorrow afternoon we'll see sunshine developing. There will be a few clouds here and there, but I do expect the shower activity to be fewer and far between, which is good for those high school football games. Again, there could be a few more tenths of an inch of rain, maybe a few hundredths in some locations from the additional lake effect rain, and then we'll see dew points dropping, especially by the time we get towards Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. High temperatures tomorrow getting into the 70s and if not the upper 60s, definitely getting into the 70s though by the weekend, and possibly touching 80 by the time we get toward Monday. But mostly sunny skies will prevail Sunday through Thursday and Wednesday as the start of October, and it'll feel like it with highs in the 60s. Dorian, back to you.
Thanks, George.
Now, your eyewitness weather forecast.
And a good Thursday evening, everybody. I'm meteorologist Jordan Reed, tracking another dry stretch ahead of us. That'll carry us right into the weekend as well, which is good for any outdoor activities. But before we get to that, we do have to talk about the dry weather that we've had is in the drought situation. All of central New York, with the exception of eastern sections of Hamilton, Fulton, Montgomery County, now under abnormally dry conditions, and those areas that I just mentioned now under a moderate drought. And mind you, this data runs from Wednesday to Tuesday at 8 a.m., so it hasn't accounted for any of today's rainfall, which we did get a significant chunk of it. As of today, from January 1st up until now, we've had 26.52 inches of precipitation, and that includes rain and the liquid equivalent of any snowfall. Typically, we should have had closer to 29 inches, so we're about 2.5 inches below where we should be for this time of the year, but those 90-day deficits are even more significant, as much as 5 to 7, 10 inches in some locations. Right now, it's a lot quieter and a lot drier in downtown Utica, 65 degrees, but it's still muggy with the dew point of 63. However, the winds are now coming in out of the west at 6 miles an hour, and that means we'll see dropping dew points as we head throughout the weekend and the start of next week. That's in spite of the fact that we'll see increasing amounts of sunshine and warmer temperatures starting off in the middle and upper 70s and then making a run at 80 degrees by the time we head towards Sunday. The latest 11 p.m. advisory on Tropical Storm Umberto, now it's a 65-mile-an-hour storm with moving to the northwest at 3 miles an hour. So even though it's gaining strength, it's not really moving much. And then this area off toward the west is likely to become a tropical storm by the time we head toward late in the weekend and closer to Monday. That area of low pressure that we have been tracking throughout the day now making its way up into New England, up toward the north and east, and high pressure is what's going to be building in for the better part of the weekend and next week as well. That's our fair weather friend. It is keeping things quiet, and we do have a few lake effect rain showers coming in off Lake Ontario. I do expect that to be the case during the overnight hours and through the first part of tomorrow from the thruway up toward the north before things quiet down as we head through the second half of the day. And we do see sunshine developing for the better part of our Friday, as well as some breezy conditions, especially out of the west-northwest, 10 to 15 miles an hour. There could be higher gusts at times as well. And then temperatures tomorrow night will be cooler than recent nights because of that westerly wind. As far as rainfall, we're not looking at much, maybe a few hundredths to a tenth, maybe a 2 or 3 tenths of an inch of rain along the Tug Hill Plateau, where you do see more of that lake effect rain coming off of Lake Ontario. And because of the westerly wind, again, we'll see dropping dew points Friday through Tuesday, and that's in spite of the fact that we will see temperatures on the milder side tomorrow, again getting into the middle and upper 70s, and we do expect temperatures to get into the upper 70s, close to 80 degrees for the weekend, and especially on Monday. And it looks like that rain will be ancient history with mostly sunny skies following us through next week. Dorian, I'll send things back to you.
Thanks.